everybody. Welcome to the podcast. My name is Victor, and this is Adam Frater. Adam, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
So I'm Adam Frater. I'm here from the States. Been in London for about 2 months now. And I specialize in body movement, although more people recognize the term calisthenics, but I don't want to limit myself just to that. So we'll talk about all movement in the body, all physical aspects of life.
Okay, so you're from Miami, and I was in Miami a while ago.
That's right.
And I went to one of the games at UM, and the thing that I know that all you guys do is you do this thing called "It's all about
the you."
Right. It's all about the you. All right, could you like just tell me about your experience in the UM and
so
all about
funny.
the you?
We were talking about this. Apparently, we went to the same exact football game 8 years ago.
Yeah. I've got the ticket.
Right. Who was it again? It was
against
Southern.
I've got the ticket. Give me one moment. Let me.
You got the ticket with you.
I've got the ticket
from 8 years ago. He's got the ticket with him.
Okay. Hold on. I've got the ticket.
No way.
You think I'm weird? I got the ticket.
Wow.
This is the ticket.
Charleston Southern. That's right. 2008. That's so fresh. Wow, the throwback. Show it to the camera. There we go.
Yeah. So I got the ticket. Yeah. So
you got it.
So throwback. So where were you? What was your situation?
So I was in the student section. I grew up in New Jersey. I was playing high school American football and getting recruited around the area for colleges. But I had pretty good grades, and if you couple that with playing sports, then you're able to get into really good academic schools. If you're really good at sports, then of course you can go to D1 colleges and play at like the next level specifically for that athletic, right? I hadn't had enough stats in high school to be getting recruited by D1 schools, so I was considering the academic schools, went on official visits, and realized that like high school football was way more lit than college in the lower level.
Okay.
So I was like, all right, let me go to college for college. I'm going to study business. Because I'm not going to be a professional football player. Although I want to keep playing this sport, it's, you got to be smart for the future.
I mean, didn't you even do it for the scholarship? Wouldn't you have gotten a...
You can, but like it's D1 schools with big football programs that'll give you a scholarship. The D3 schools are really smart academically, so let's consider like Johns Hopkins. It's like the best medical university in the world.
Okay.
Normally without football, I wouldn't be able to get in. Okay. My grades are good, just not that good. With football, they'll let you in. They might give you a little bit of money, but it's not really much scholarship to go around, so that was the deal. My brother was living in Florida. I went to visit him, and like I'd visit him in college, and I just had a friggin' blast, man. I mean, I'm a high school kid being taken out all around Florida in this beautiful tropical environment. The sun's out, girls are out, they wear skimpy clothes, they're Latin, everybody's in shape because it's warm all year round. I'm just like, I got to go to school here. Okay. So I applied to Miami. I got into Miami. And my plan was always to walk on and try to play sports anyway, but...
Did you play any sports in particular, or was it basketball? Did you play?
So yeah, I mean, I played high school football. That was like my main sport I was getting recruited for. Played basketball my entire life, although I'm not very good at it. Okay. I'm just really athletic, so like I can beat players that are good, but I don't have like the skills and the footwork. I'll be honest about that.
Okay, cool.
Played hockey, played soccer or European football. I don't call it European, just football.
Okay, so in terms of your Instagram and your profile, what you're known for is calisthenics.
Is calisthenics, right? Or fitness.
Fitness, bodyweight training. That's general bodyweight training. So, could you tell me about your fitness journey in terms of calisthenics and bodyweight training?
It's interesting. I played high school football, so I grew up, doing Olympic weightlifting, power clean, squats, and I was always into working out. It was always about getting your weight up, benching more, squatting more, so on and so forth. I went to college. In college, same thing, played basketball for cardio and just hit the weights. Somewhere around senior year, there was like a random kid like in the gym doing a muscle up. And someone was like, yo, you see what that guy's doing? That's like one of the hardest physical fitness things you could do. I'm like, what's it called? It's called a muscle up. And just the term muscle up, you're like, damn, like that just sounds like, and I'm like, I can do a ton of pull-ups. Why can't I do this muscle up thing? Like, I should be able to do it. I'm strong with my body weight. I can climb ropes, do push-ups, all that kind of stuff. And then after like being intrigued for a few months, like I taught myself how to do it. And, you know, I've since made tutorials and taught thousands and thousands of people all over the world, because, like, once it clicks, like, you realize, like, how to do it. But the muscle up was, like, the opening to the entire world of, like, body weight training. And I think it's the same way for most people. Like, there's got to be one thing that, like, intrigues you that's different. And basically I did that. And then that on the side, I was still in college, and there was this girl that I was really interested in. And she's like this crazy ex-gymnast and dancer, and she can do front walkovers and back bends, like bring her foot to her mouth and all kinds of weird stuff. And I wanted her to teach me a handstand so I could like flirt with her and spend more time with her.
Oh, okay.
So we would sneak into the gym and like rent out like sneak into one of the empty yoga studios, and we would just play around upside down, and she would teach me how to do handstands and stuff. So like I was saying before, like I learned how to do a handstand separate, not realizing like it mixed together with this calisthenics thing. And then the next part, which was the important part, was I was walking down Miami Beach. And now I can do muscle ups like, you know, like a bunch in a row, and I could do handstands, and I'm walking down Miami Beach. And still I hadn't heard the term calisthenics. Nobody had used that word to describe what we were doing back then. It was called street workout.
Street workout.
That's all you knew, right? I knew calisthenics from like any trainer I had in the past with football that said we're doing calisthenics today, which meant we're doing body weight like training or workouts, right? Plyometrics or calisthenics. Anyway, I'm walking down Miami Beach, and I see some guys who are well known in the calisthenics community today doing muscle up to foot on the bar.
Okay, so who exactly did you see? Who were the people that you
So
see?
I saw Hivo Gonzalez, who's down in Miami, Hivo G. I saw Chris Heria, who runs Thenex, and then there was one other guy whose name's just escaping me, but it was like the three of them. They were doing muscle up to foot on the bar, muscle up to handstand, muscle up 360s, right? And I'm like, bro, like, I didn't get it. I'm like, I'm just strong enough to do a muscle up, and I'm one of the most fit people of my group of friends. These guys have so much more power than me. Can just muscle up and do a 360. I could barely get over the bar. They can muscle up to standing on it. This is unreal. They're like superheroes. It was just absurd.
Okay.
Sure enough, as you learn it, you realize like there's things that make it easier. It just looks a lot harder than it is. Not to discredit it, because it was really impressive, but that was like what started. So I started going out there and training all the time. And then after college, I moved to Los Angeles, and I was pretty broke. And I think this is why a lot of people get into street workout, is because if you don't have a gym membership, you can't afford it, what can you do to stay fit? You want to be an athlete, you want to have whatever body you want to have. And there's why people all over the world have turned to street workout, because there's a park or a playground or something somewhere where they can train. And that was my story. I was in LA, I was broke. Venice Beach, Muscle Beach, like has equipment out all over the beach, so the greatest display you've ever seen, and it's all free to the public. So I would just go there and train, and that's where I landed up.
So would you say like street workout is or calisthenics is a little bit more inclusive because you don't have to pay? That's part of what?
Sure. I mean, anybody can do it anywhere, right? Now, sure enough, through Instagram, I know people that are like, we don't have bars on the beach like you. Where else can we do this? But I think everybody can agree that you've seen pull-up bars or fitness stations in pretty much any city that you've traveled to. They're all over London, surprisingly enough. Obviously, they're in LA, they're in New York, they're in Philadelphia. I mean, every city that I go to, you walk past something. So there's a way for people to find a way to work out. And of course, if you're dedicated, you could always just do something in your living room floor. And what would you call that? Probably body weight training, calisthenics.
It's true. Okay, so you've done a physique competition as well.
Yes.
Quite a while ago. So how did you prepare for that? Because I imagine it's slightly different to calisthenics, right?
Yeah, you know, not to discredit physique competitors or physique competitions, because the guys put a lot of work into getting their body to be a very specific way through whatever training, dieting. There's a lot of respect that can be thrown for that. I didn't get into it for the right reasons. I was broke again in LA. The only job I had was working the front desk at Equinox and saying hi to everybody when they walked in and checking them in. Sure enough, I had a way bigger ego back then. And I was just like, I wanted to be a trainer because all the trainers got to like move around all day and work with people, but I didn't have a certification. And for a while, all these trainers were training for this physique competition. And I'm thinking, I'm in better shape than these guys. They're training so hard. They're in the break room just crushing meals out of Tupperware. And I feel like I'm in better shape than these guys.
Okay.
So, like, I didn't tell anybody. And, like, a week before the competition, I signed up. So then I just showed up, and they're all like, what are you doing here? Like, all the trainers were doing it. No one that worked at the desk was doing it. So, like, I showed up. And, again, like I said, my ego has changed. I've had experiences since then, but it was for the wrong reasons. But I got there unprepared. Had to make friends that helped me like figure out what poses to do and whatnot, and I ended up getting second in my weight class, which was pretty cool.
That is incredible. So, a complete beginner. Let's say you're an amateur. You hadn't had any coaching. You didn't know how to pose. You didn't know even the tanning.
I didn't have the tan stuff. I had to find friends to paint me orange or whatever.
And then you came second.
Yeah.
That's pretty incredible.
Right,
So
it didn't help my overly huge ego at the time. That's for sure.
No, but
Just being fair.
Yeah, I mean, I think I guess it's just a matter of preparation, proper preparation.
Right, but when I was there, I met people that had like literally trained and had done so much to get to that point. And if you saw what they looked like even a month before that point, it was like a massive transformation. Here they are, 6-pack, ripped and brown. Before they were like, a little bit bloated and just starting to put on size. So.
Okay. So, and also, besides that, you've also done calisthenics competitions. You've judged on competitions as well as...
Right, so I've judged a couple competitions. I've competed in one small one, and I've been at all of the competitions since, like, the sport became competitive on the competitive circuit. Battle of the Bars, 1, 2, 3, like, I've been around for a while. I have a feeling I know what you're going to ask me.
Okay.
Something about how calisthenics competitions compare.
Yeah. So how does, I mean, in terms of the preparation, how does physique competition preparation
So physique
compare with
competition
the calisthenics
is
competition?
100% aesthetic. You're getting up there to show your body. But it's a competition, so they're judging off things. A pose is, it's important. It has to do with like how you're going to perform or, what your scoring is going to be like. Calisthenics is a sport. So like you're literally practicing combinations. You're practicing landing that hard move over and over and over and over and over again so that when the competition comes, you don't fall because you're going to lose points. You practice landing that move into another move, into another move. Again, it's repetitions, practicing. Maybe you're the type that likes to freestyle, but when it comes to competitions, you need to have an idea of what you're going to do next.
Okay, and when you say landing, how do you mean? Like, do you mean, what move would you land from one move to the next move?
So like, if you did a muscle-up handstand to slowly letting yourself down to doing a bar spin at the waist, to then doing a muscle-up to your foot on the bar, to doing a backswing 360, grabbing it in a reverse grip so you come to the other side of the bar, doing another 360, shooting through your legs, then going into a static position like a front lever or a back lever. It's a very dynamic sport. There's many, many different things you can do because it's very general. It's a calisthenics competition. So most of the stuff takes place on the bar or the parallel bars. But that would be stringing together different combinations. And then at the same time, you're studying who your competition is and like what he has on you and like how you're going to come with something different. It's almost like imagine a breakdancing battle where like, you guys are going to face off and someone's got to serve somebody. Like you got to have this hidden trick you're going to come out with and everybody's going to be, oh shit, he threw the 540 to the this and that.
Okay. So have you, in that situation, have you ever been in a competition where there was somebody who you were looking at and you were like, okay, how am I going to top this?
Absolutely. And
could you take us back to that?
There's a scoring system. So like with any sport, you try to like figure out how you're going to do well in the scoring. So calisthenics, you have a category for statics, which is static strength holds. Okay. I know I'm weak in most of my statics. I have one good static. Could you
tell me some of the statics?
So you could do a planche, which is a push-up without your feet being on the ground. So you just hold yourself like in... You do a handstand, lower yourself down so your feet are even, but feet aren't on the ground. A front lever, so hanging from the bar, leaning back in front lever position and holding it, not just going into it for a second, but holding it, showing your strength. And like a back lever, a one-arm lever, maybe a one-arm pull-up. Just anything that's like very specific strength move that's not so much gymnastics oriented. Like we're not spinning, we're not doing tricks or skills. We're showing just raw strength.
Okay.
And I have a few moves, but like where the guy in the example I'm talking about had a really strong front lever, just incredibly strong front lever. And like I knew he was going to get a lot of points for that because a lot of people like know that like my front lever is not great. but I have a great back lever. So like, again, it's just a competition. You throw your back lever, you hold it for as long as you can, prove that you have the strength, and then in that scoring category, you got the points. Whether you never did a planche or never did a front lever, you did enough by doing whatever trick you did.
Okay, so and you were looking at there's parts where you were weak in and there was parts where you were strong in, and you were looking at overall making sure your strength showed up more, or you scored well on your strength.
Exactly. So a lot of people go into competitions thinking like, I'm just going to go stunt. I'm just going to go do a bunch of about this sport. Is usually there's a bar in some public location where if you're up there doing flips and handstands and tricks, people come by looking like, what the hell are these people doing? Nobody knows this stuff. In Venice Beach or Santa Monica, when we're tricking on the bar, literally we get crowds of hundreds of people that are just like, Cirque du Soleil, like, what's going on here? You know, they're so wow. So people, when they go to compete, they're like, I'm going to do that stuff. But that might not score high. So like, if you're a smart competitor, you would go into it, you know, knowing how it's scored and how you're going to perform to get a good score. And that's why like a lot of the competitions have had scrutiny, because someone won't win who had the entire crowd going crazy, but that's just because he did a ton of tricks but didn't do a single static. And the statics are boring. They're not as fun to watch, because if you make it look easy, audience doesn't understand.
I see.
But in the judging aspect, you know, like if I did a handstand, like you're like, okay, I've seen that before, but like that's me filling in points in that category. But if I do a 360 to a flying this, to a backflip re-grab, to all these crazy tricks, people are going to be like, that's insane. Okay. But I'm really only scoring in one category. Okay. I like to compare it to like Chopped. It's like a food competition show. Okay. Where like taste, presentation of the dish, you know, and creativity are each equally separate categories. So although your shit might taste the best, if you didn't make your plate look beautiful, you're evened out. And then what's your creativity, you know? So
okay, I think that's a good segue into the food. So in terms of nutrition, what do you eat in terms of nutrition? How do you fuel your body? What do you?
So I eat pretty healthy. I've learned a lot of different things along the way that like were philosophies that made a lot of sense. For instance, I drank a lot of soda until I was like 19. Then I stopped drinking soda because I heard someone say like, would you water the plants in your house with a soda? And my mom used to make me water the plants when she wasn't around. Of course you use water. And I'm thinking, no, I wouldn't. It's like, why? Well, would you water yourself with soda? I'm like, yeah. Well, wow, make me feel like shit. You know, like, this thing like had me thinking for a minute. It's like, yeah, I really shouldn't drink soda. It's just like, it's terrible for you. And then obviously that led to more research and studies coming out about how you just shouldn't have it. That was one way to eliminate one thing. I started having stomach problems in college, and I started testing different foods that like would bother me, and I would get inflammation from different things. And
so what kind of foods would bother you?
Processed. Well, so after doing research, I realized it was processed foods, like highly processed foods that were really saucy, that just like had a bunch of additives in it, and gluten.
Gluten. Okay, so you were just saying that gluten is one of the foods you're allergic to?
So I'm not allergic to it. I'm not allergic. I'm not intolerant. I'm just gluten-free. So some people have their different diets. I try to stay gluten-free because gluten is a protein. Okay. And it's a more complex protein, so it's more difficult to digest. So my goal with nutrition and my philosophy of nutrition is you need to make digestion easy. Okay. Because what people don't know is that digestion is the most energy-consuming function of the body. Okay. So, you know, and then this was another philosophy I learned, right? And this isn't practical, but, you know, we're all, depends how you look at it, we're all animals in the animal kingdom. And if we took away civilization or like how smart or modernized we've become over the years, what would we eat? What does an animal in the jungle eat? It goes and it eats its one food source. It's either hunts for prey or it goes and forages for like grass or greens, whatever it eats. But it's very rare that like any creature has 5 different food groups on the exact same plate. And that's difficult, and that's why like a lot of people have diseases. That's why digestion is difficult for people. That's why people fall asleep after meals. It's a lot of reasons. So like, I'll give you an example. When you eat protein, your stomach produces acid to break down the protein. And when you eat starch, your stomach produces alkalines to break down the starch. Now, if you've ever had acid like indigestion, you know you're supposed to have like an alkaline. And they say there's milk, there's all these other options that are basic, right? So you have the acids and then the basic. Well, acids and alkalines neutralize each other. So if you eat steak and potatoes, chicken and rice are typical dishes that are starch and protein, your stomach is literally producing two chemicals that completely neutralize each other, and the food is left undigested in your stomach. And that's why after a big meal like that, you get what I refer to as the itis, but like you just get really sleepy and you pass out. So if you ever had a dinner like that or a lunch like that, you feel real tired, that's because your stomach is working endlessly to digest. So I think my whole philosophy on eating is to be conscious, to make eating a conscious decision. You can do different crazy diets, you can count your calories, you can count your macros. I don't do that because I think that it's really important to like have a realistic lifestyle when it comes to eating. You're like, if you're going around counting shit all day long, like you're not going to want to stick with a diet. It's exhausting. I can't have this. I had too many points or whatever your system is. I don't want to talk shit about it because like it works to lose weight or for whatever reason. But you just need to be conscious about what you're eating.
Okay.
If you're conscious, like again, like sometimes we'll eat food just because we're hungry.
Yeah.
That's a filler food. Does it have the nutrients that your body needs? Does it have the protein that your body needs? Or is it just going to fill you up? Are you feeding your brain or are you feeding your stomach?
Okay. Yeah, no, it's true. Okay, so you eat certain foods, and also obviously those foods fuel your workout.
Yeah.
Your workout. So, and also music fuels your workout, I'd imagine.
Absolutely.
So what music do you get pumped, really pumped you up? What music do you listen to get pumped?
Hip-hop.
Okay.
Like some upbeat hip-hop. Mostly like the older school stuff is a little bit better.
It's like, what artist would you say?
We're talking like, what artist now?
No, what artist? Old school.
I mean, like old school Eminem and 50 Cent. They were hype as heck back in the day. 3 6 Mafia. I mean, I'll listen to that. I got to mix it around because that's, you know. The newer stuff's good too. It's just like some of the rap gets a little bit boring, and it really just depends on the workout. Like sometimes like a house mix that like has a lot of drops can get you in the zone.
What do you think that's better for? A house mix with a lot of drops. What would you see yourself doing
That's
to
better for like hit training.
Hit training.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I'm trying to like freestyle and hit the bars, like and come in hot with the heat, like I want to hear something that I know the words to, where I say the word, you know, you just come in strong.
Okay, I mean, actually, there's a song on one of your posts on Instagram, which was like, "Can you show us all your power?" It goes something like that.
Yeah.
What was that song? Because I really liked it.
It's called Powers, and it's by Titus.
Okay.
Nobody really knows Titus, but he's a smaller artist that I found. He's got like a lot of cool like vibe tracks. But I used to have a business called Powers TV.
Okay, that's great. Okay, so could you tell me about Powers TV?
Yeah, so Powers TV was supposed to be a digital content producer, so a digital publisher of online learning material. So a lot of guys out there, they sell fitness programs. I sell my fitness program. I have an online program. And that's kind of where it ends. I don't really want to be in the spotlight forever. One day I'm going to get old. I'm not going to be the guy that's like the young fitness person that people look up to. So if I'm not building something outside of my own brand, I don't find that to be an intelligent career choice, let's call it. So the goal of the company was to produce content for a lot of other people in different niches, different sports. So a yogi, a bodybuilder, a soccer player, really whatever that would appeal to an audience to learn online.
Okay, and what were you trying to create partnerships with different people or doing different bands?
So
and
I
then
wanted to work with influencers, create a partnership with each individual person, and just be the producer to create really epic learning content.
Okay.
So each person could decide what their course is going to be, but it would be like online courses or programs or subscriptions.
Okay, I mean, and I looked online and I saw some of your course content. I saw the muscle up tutorial on YouTube. I thought that was awesome. I thought that was really, really good.
I was so excited. The response, like, it has like over 600,000 views. There's like thousands of comments, people that say that like they couldn't muscle up. They watched this video, now they can muscle up. Like,
yeah.
They really like it. Really gave me confidence because I'm not a video editor. I'm not a content creator, and I see guys like Brendan Meyers or Austin Dunham, you know, like create their YouTube content, and it's really good. You know, the editing's good, and they add in arrows and cuts and music and slow mo and all the good stuff. But this gave me confidence because I just did it all in one shoot. It was like a 12-minute video. I just kept talking and just like it was as if you were there with me, and I think that's why I got a good response. And
did you edit it as well?
There was no edit. I mean, I just Yeah, there was no edit. It literally is just a 12-minute long video with no cuts, where my buddy stood there and filmed me, and I did muscle up, and I think I might have put text in there or something like that, but it's very simple, and that's why so many people have liked it, because it's different. It's just like completely raw, completely real.
Do you think it's more authentic to your?
I think it's more like, I've taught so many people to muscle up in person, and other things in calisthenics in person, because when I'm doing things that you meet people and then you teach them. So like, yeah, I mean, there's different ways to learn things where you could like learn this and it says step 1 and then it does this, and then the video says step 2 and then it does this in slow motion and arrows and stuff, and I'm sure that's helpful. But I don't know, the response was good.
And do you think the response is partly due to the fact that you've done it so many times, you kind of understand the process in your head?
I went into it planned, like I knew how I wanted to teach it, but I prefer to like improvise most things, because if you really write down what you want to say before you come into a camera or situation, trying to remember it and trying to say it like organically, it's impossible. So it's better to just like kind of wing it, and if you're an expert to whatever degree in what you're talking about, it should be easy. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I was surprised that it did as well as it did. It was my first viral video on YouTube. And it just comment after comment after comment of people that like are so excited because they learned it. Every time I go and I check that video and I see a comment, it makes me feel great.
Yeah, but I mean, do you think, did you go out with the intention for it to be viral?
I mean, I think we would all always hope that a video that's posted on YouTube would go viral. I didn't think it would, just because I don't know how YouTube works. That's like not my platform that I know very well. But I was going to use it as like a marketing tactic to like run ads on Facebook to like get people to go and watch the video. Because there's like all kinds of like sneak marketing things that you can do on Facebook. But basically, if you get people to start viewing something, then you know what type of people view something, and then you can create an audience around that type of people. And you know that type of people is going to be calisthenics or street workout based. And then that helps you market other things you might sell, like my online program. The fact that it went viral is just, it's amazing. And it's good for everybody who appreciated it so much.
Okay. I was going to ask you a question, a little off topic, but you know, it was Mental Health Week last week, and it's a pretty hot topic. I was going to ask you, if there was one mental health problem which you like completely find a cure for or eradicate, which one would you say would be the biggest one?
Probably like schizophrenia.
Schizophrenia.
I only say that because I have a really close friend from growing up who like is potentially an undiagnosed schizophrenic, but he just like goes in and out of different characters like that, and he's gone from being like a very promising person with a bright future to like someone who can't like wrap his mind around reality to whatever degree that means.
Okay, and how was that in terms of the treatment? Do you think was that handled?
That's the problem. Is like in regards to treatment, it's like first realizing that there's a problem. It's not like a disease where you're gonna go, where you're sick one day, you're coughing or you have headaches, and they tell you there's something seriously wrong with you. This is like when do people admit to themselves that this person's not just acting strange and weird, that they might actually have a legitimate problem? So it's almost like an intervention. With someone who's addicted to drugs, where like the family has to just agree like this person's just really not normal because there's probably a mental issue there. Yeah. So that just resonates with me. I don't know. Wouldn't imagine it's the worst. I don't know if you could compare one to the next, but.
What about if there was a physical disease, like a physical problem that you'd want to completely eradicate or find a cure for? Which one would that be?
Probably paralysis. I don't know if that wouldn't be considered a disease.
No, what would you can say it's a disease? Paralysis. So paralysis is it related to anything? I mean, it could be a disease. Yeah, like a stroke.
You could have a stroke. You could be left paralyzed. You could. Be in an accident and then be paralyzed. It could be an injury less than a disease. But if I could cure one thing, injury, disease, whatever it might be, I would go with that. Obviously, I am
the physical fitness, body movement guy. So like for me, my worst nightmare, my biggest fear in life is being immobilized in any way. I've never broken my leg. I really hope that I never do. But I couldn't imagine sitting in a cast for a few weeks, and that's a joke to people who can't walk, again in their life. There was a really talented gymnast who used to train in Las Vegas. His name is Jay Crow on Instagram. Really talented guy. I mean, like he did aerial stuff and gymnastics, all kinds of stuff. And he came down to Santa Monica, and I met him. And he used to do he's much stronger than me on the rope climb. He could do all kinds of things from the straps and like the silks. And he was training one of the apparatuses that came out of the ceiling. He landed on his neck and broke his neck. And he's basically been on the recovery path for like a year and a half. And he's like just barely able to walk again, and like he may or may not ever be able to do a lot of things on his own. Extremely determined guy, and he's come really far. But like I've met a lot of people along the way that have had injuries, and that's just like it's just to me like being trapped inside your body. It's scary. And if you could give somebody the ability to like get out and move again, like
I mean, have you ever had that thing where you have a dream? And then you wake
sleep paralysis?
Yeah, sleep paralysis.
No,
and then
man.
You wake up. No, you haven't.
I've heard of this. I wonder. Correct me if I'm wrong. Have you had it?
Yes, I've
really
had it. Yeah.
No way.
So it's like you wake up, and you feel that your body's you're physically awake, but your body isn't awake.
For maybe like 15 to 20 seconds, I don't know if it's a minute, you're trying to move. Your brain's trying to send the signals to your body to do something, but it's not doing anything. And then finally, it's almost like you burst out and you finally start moving normally. But while you're in that, you're panicking because you want to do something that you normally do and you can't do it. So there's a big panic.
I mean, I've woken up in the morning and been like, I really don't want to move, and just like felt my body feeling like numb and loose, and been like, I can't move, I'm paralyzed, like I can't move, and like thought it in my head, and and not moved and not moved and not moved, and kept thinking it in my head, but like I feel like I could have moved at any second if I ever needed to. So I don't know, like if you were in that state and like someone came bursting in the room, like you think you'd be able to move?
Probably not. Or
that's crazy. I can't even. I don't know.
I mean, there'd have to be a little bit of a struggle before I finally kind of got to a place where I could move. But I don't think I'd be able to move. It wouldn't be that easy.
Well,
So
I hope I don't have to experience that.
No, it's something to experience. I mean, okay, so moving on. Some of the workouts you've done have been video collaborations with different influencers, and they look great. They're awesome. Who would you say was the most fun to work out with, or who would you say you had a lot of fun doing the shoot?
So one of my not older in age, but like longer calisthenics friends is Brendan Meyers.
Okay.
And he's well known through the calisthenics fitness community. He's got, like millions of followers on Facebook, hundreds of thousands on YouTube, tons on Instagram. I met him in Miami before I moved to Los Angeles. Ironically, he was moving to LA at the same time, and we moved together. We trained in LA for a while. We've had a roller coaster of a friendship because we're very similar. So we get into a lot of fights and a lot of arguments, and we like each other but don't like each other. So because of that, he kind of feels like a brother to me.
I see.
Because my brother, who I love, I don't really like. I never really liked him my whole life growing up because he treated me like shit and always beat me up. Of course, I love him. And then, of course, there's times where he's like a nice brother and I enjoy him. But it's because of that I've liked training with that kid, because it gets really competitive and not in a negative way. And competition can bring out the best in you sometimes. So he's definitely pushed me to be better. But one of the people that I enjoyed working with, who was just a friendly, like all-around good guy, is Austin Dunham. He's like another famous YouTuber, big on Instagram as well, and huge in calisthenics. And he's very talented at what he does, just a good energy vibe about him. Cool guy.
Okay, so in terms of fitness, what's your biggest motivation? So are you motivated by actually competing against others, or actually what brings out the best in you? Because you do really well sometimes.
Yeah. I just love this shit. You know, like I used to compete and I used to just thrive off a competition in any way. And then like getting into calisthenics, getting into street workout, a lot of the times I train with a group of guys, but a lot of times I'll just go to the beach solo with music in my ears and I'll just work out and I just feel so alive. Okay. And I really got into fitness like really strongly when I was working like a job that I did not like, a job that just like I knew wasn't for me. And at the end of a stressful day, like the only way to get out my frustration was to go to the gym and work it out, hit a punching bag, do reps, do sets, just some sort of physical activity. So that's really what workout fitness has always been for me. It was never about what I see in the mirror. It was never about, you know, or in that case, aesthetics. It was never about learning tricks, but like one thing leads to the next. And, you know.
And would you say that it's a therapy, or it gets you in the zone?
Absolutely. Now, I couldn't tell you all the science behind it. I know your brain releases endorphins and it helps, you know, with hormone production and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean, there's probably the scientific reasons behind, but just personally, I mean, who doesn't feel just so great, so accomplished and relieved after like a hard workout? You might not like it during the workout, but the minute it's over, you're like, damn, I just killed it. I feel great, you know.
And do you know, have you ever been, for example, in the zone? When you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, you gotta get in the zone. The zone's what it's about.
Okay, so when did you say was the last time? Because I see a lot of clips where you're doing things that are just incredible. You're flipping twice, 360s. Yeah, you're just freestyling. You just look so free. And
well, I haven't done too much freestyle recently since I've been in London because I'm just not on my beach bars anymore. But yeah, I mean, you know, you'll do set after set after set, and then like out of every 5 times you get up there, one time some song will come on that'll just hit you, and you'll just be like, this is my jam, and then you'll get in the zone and you'll just go that much harder on the bar, whatever it is, and just like, I mean, like you said, just get a nice flow going, kind of go beast mode, whatever it is. But in my workouts, like I get in the zone. When I'm doing workouts, when I'm not freestyling and I'm actually doing reps and sets and stuff, like after 15 minutes into the workout, where like I'm now loose, I'm starting to get a light sweat, like you're in the zone, you feel your veins coming out, you're feeling a nice pump, like, and then that zone pushes you harder and you just start crushing it.
And would you say one of my favorite things is you do a lot of press ups and you do a lot of variations on press ups. That looks like really something that is something that I've only seen you do, or it's quite the way you do it. You do it. How did you develop that? Where did you start off? Or
that's a good question. I mean, my dad had us doing calisthenics when we were little kids since the beginning. So we had pull-up bars. We were doing push-ups. We were always doing push-ups, trying to sit on each other's backs and stuff like that. But freestyle push-ups, they kind of came over time. Like, first I started doing for a workout typewriter push-ups where you kind of go side to side, or archer push-ups where you go side to side. And then like someone showed me like a push-up, where you push up and go here real quick. Then I saw some guys doing the push-ups to their forearms. I was like, that's kind of cool. I could do a one-hand push-up. And it's just like, it's like an art. It's almost like dance. Like you're just kind of like building combinations until like, if I got down and do it right now, I wouldn't know what's going to happen. But it's probably going to look cool because I've done it enough times. Or like a dancer might have their dance routine, but if you told them to freestyle, they know they could do with this and this and whatever, and it's just going to look good. I'm not a dancer.
No, it sounds like a lot more fun, because I would say, would you say that the difference between, say, normal weight training and doing a certain is you're very confined to certain movements, and those movements are for a purpose, which might be to make bigger muscles. But with here, there's more of a freedom, there's more of a ability to express yourself.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right, and that's a great word. It is a form of expression. You could look at it as a form of art if you're trying to put together combinations or do some sort of freestyle that looks fun. I mean, I'll go in there thinking I'm just going to do press-ups. Then I'm going to do narrow press-ups. Then I'm going to do wide press-ups. And somewhere along there, I'll just feel like amped up for a moment and start doing a quick freestyle, because although it looks cool and a lot of people think you do it for the gram, that is a great workout. It does burn like crazy. And the more fun it is, the harder you go because you're not thinking about how tired you are until you literally can't pick yourself up off the floor again. And that's why I like calisthenics, you know. I mean, my biggest example to people is that, first off, calisthenics puts a strain across the entire body. So if you're doing push-ups, yes, you're targeting your chest, but you're targeting your whole core as well and your legs to hold yourself in that plank position. But you're not thinking about that plank position because you're just thinking about how much your chest hurts from doing the push-ups. But at the end of push-ups, you just got a whole extra workout that you didn't realize you were doing the whole time. And that applies to pull-ups or planche training or handstands, whatever it might be.
So would you say that in terms of if you were to train for a calisthenics competition, would you need more strength than you would for a physique competition, or a different type of strength than you would for an aesthetic bodybuilding competition?
My problem with physique competitions, and I don't mean to throw shade, it's just my personal opinion, is it's completely aesthetic based. So you could be a great athlete and go up there and do well, and you could be a horrible athlete that's not nearly as strong as you look and go up there and do well. And there's no points either way. You don't have to prove any strength. You're literally just up there to look good. And I don't think that sells the right message when it comes to fitness and being healthy. So like personally, I don't think I would ever do a physique competition again. Not to mention, to get to the point of being able to compete in a physique competition, there's a lot of extremes you can go to looking a certain type of way. Calisthenics competition, you can't fake the strength. You have to have it to be able to do what you need to do. A physique competition, you could be bloated up into a week before the competition, and this is what they do, and dehydrate your entire body. So you're in a state of literally your body is dehydrated, you're not healthy, but you go on stage looking lean and ripped because our bodies are mostly water. If you dehydrate yourself, you're just going to shrivel up and turn into just all muscle. And that's not healthy, but that's just so you can win a competition based off of looks. Calisthenics, what are you going to do to get stronger other than just like practicing to get stronger? I mean, I guess you could say steroids or something, but calisthenics guys aren't guys that are on steroids, so we know that's not an option.
So you have a comment on Instagram. You said, let me quote you. You said, "I never knew what I wanted to do when I grew up. I still don't, but I'm following my feet and going where my heart tells me. Life's about being happy, so do something that resonates with your soul." So how do you think people find out what really resonates with their soul?
I think it's a type of thing that it's easy to say you dream of, right? Like when I first got into calisthenics, I literally would lay in bed at night just thinking about different things I could do on the bar. And just being excited until the next time I could get on there to try something new. Or if I failed at something all day and I couldn't land that trick, just going home and thinking about it until it made sense as to how to do it. I didn't realize I liked anything that much until I started doing that. I did that back with high school football, and I did that now with calisthenics and sometimes with handstands or whatever it might be. But there was never in college I was in an accounting class and and I go back and I start thinking about accounting at night. No, the only time I would be thinking about accounting at night is when I had an exam the next day and I'd be loathing it and it'd fill me with anxiety. So I think that yes, you can call it dreams, but the type of thing that you think of every day. You know what resonates with you. And if you haven't found it yet, just be open, try to do more things and eventually you will.
Do you think what I'm getting is, do you think it's the problem you constantly want to solve? I'm trying to get at. Is it or the thing you want to work out or you want to focus on?
Listen, people over the course of their lives are very influenced by many factors. Their parents, what they learned in school. And, in my situation, my parents heavily influenced me. My mom was an artist and didn't do the corporate route, so she's been my biggest fan. My dad has been the biggest provider of my family, and he used to be an artist that had to go corporate. And he just wants me to make the smart business decision and not risk my career by trying to explore something that I like. But though that influence has literally thrown me through a loop in life, and I've tried to do something this way that like tried to please people that weren't myself, and it just resulted in me being unhappy. And then I went from that to doing something I thought was for myself, but it was kind of for myself while still trying to please other people and their expectations. And again, it wasn't right. Until I could finally just cut all of those strings, which it's so difficult. And a lot of people go through their entire life not being able to do that whatsoever. The minute I was able to cut all those strings, I've literally never been happier. I'm not making tons and tons of money. I don't know where my career is going to take me in the next few years, but I can't argue the happiness. Okay. Now, people tell you live in the moment, and I will tell you that's very important to live in the moment. But you need to recognize that there's a future. If you're too present-minded, life's going to pass by. You're going to be one age in the future and realize you don't have what you want at that age. So if you know there's certain things you want, tangible assets, a house, car, family, whatever, you need to just be present-minded but cognizant of the future.
Yeah, so it's a balance between the present and the future.
Right.
Okay. And I think we'll end on that note. Then, thank you very much for doing
Yeah, I
the
appreciate you
podcast.
guys having
awesome.
me. It's been fun. Love talking about this stuff. Hopefully it inspired anybody out there to chase some dreams, whatever it is that they enjoy doing, to just take it and run with it. You know, I heard a quote once recently that was pretty interesting was, don't chase the money. It was like, chase your passion, the money will find you. And I feel like that's just, you know, it's so true.
Yeah,
and that was the case for me, and I hope it is for everyone else.
Okay, cool. And where can we find you? Where can we find you?
I'm going to be traveling Europe throughout the rest of the summer. So I think from here I'm going to Tel Aviv. Then I'm doing a workshop in the Amalfi Coast. Then I'm meeting some friend for a birthday, and I'm just going to be all over the place.
Okay.
Hopefully doing calisthenics all over the world for as long as I can support myself to do so.
Okay, in terms of social media.
Yeah.
Where can you find you on social media?
He was asked about social media. I'm telling you where in the world I'm going to be. You can find me on YouTube, King Frater. Find my muscle up tutorial if you're looking to do muscle up, or on Instagram mostly at Adam_Frater.
Okay, thanks a lot for that.
Yeah, man.